All right. Hi, everyone. We are Tharsians at USC Viterbi. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Albert Sun. I study astronautical engineering at USC Viterbi.
My name is Jessica Yuan. I study mechanical engineering at USC Viterbi.
I'm Lucy Shi, and I study cognitive science and computer science at Viterbi. So, in the year 2120, the settlement on Mars named the Republic City-State of Tharsis reached the population of 1 million people. So upon our anniversary, we want to give you a tour of the city-state. The city-state is located in the Tharsis region in the south of Arshia Mons. It consists of 5 districts, each serving its own economic purposes. The colony is divided up into 2 layers, one above the surface where productions take place and one in the subsurface where people reside. Because the core of each city or every mission would be people. The first question we will address is, who are they? Essentially, who choose to become Tharsians? In other words, if we select you to be one of the settlers on Mars, then who are you? Well, after this 100 years, we found that Tharsians are visionaries who find unique meaning in impacting humanity's future. Tharsians thrive in adventures, challenges, and explorations. And Tharsians are eager to build a brand new community which unprecedentedly unleashes human potential. With such passion and vigor, consequently, Tharsians' creation, that is, the Republic City-State of Tharsis, has become an innovative harbor, an exopolitan commercial center, and a vibrant community.
What you're looking at right now is the flag of the colony. The flag is also called Tharsians. It symbolizes the Earth, the Mars, and the rest of the universe. At the center of the flag is a representation of Tharsis region, where the colony was built upon. The national anthem is called Life on Mars, which took the inspiration from David Bowie's song Life on Mars. So the development of the city-state took 100 years from its onset to reaching 1 million people. It went through 5 stages, and we call these preparation, corporatization, sectionalization, centralization, and decentralization. So a treaty signed in 2023 and the creation of Tharsian Corporation marked the beginning of preparation, followed by corporatization, where 2,000 people from the corporation lived on Mars. They worked as an enterprise. As more immigrants came to Mars, they settled into 5 clusters, forming 5 districts, each with its own economic advantages. And that's what we call sectionalization. And as population increased, a central government was established for economic purposes. And after rapid development, the political structure once again became more decentralized for the growth of the economy. By the year 2120, the Republic City-State of Tharsis has finally reached a population of 1 million people.
We choose to locate the city-state in the Tharsis region, right next to Arshia Mons. The region is an ideal candidate for human settlement. First, for its proximity to the equator, meaning warmer climate. Second, for its relative abundance in glaciers, meaning water resources. And third, for its 7 cave systems. Currently, the city-state thrives in the southern part of Tharsis, where there is extensive development inside and outside of Martian near-surface caves, which can shelter settlers from surface hazards, minimize temperature variations, and create relatively stable microclimate.
This settlement is divided into 2 layers, third up the surface layer and third down the subsurface layer. On third up, the transportation system runs through multiple unmanufactured zones constructed above ground, housing a number of 3D printing, energy production, and resource extraction factories. Third down is engineered to approximate Earth's conditions, where the majority of human activities take place, such as residential, administration, agriculture, business, and research. Buildings in third down are dome-shaped and constructed by giant 3D printers in situ using regolith. As for inside, imagine a module with a small central garden and apartments surrounding it. The residential area consists of compact hexagonal modules just like that, as shown in the graph. This can facilitate an efficient management of feed systems for oxygen, water, and energy. Lawns with a circular running track surrounds the periphery of the module area, providing residents with ample interaction space and helping to strengthen the sense of community. One special feature in the architectural design is the Skylight system. Though the lighting system could be easily implemented using LED, natural sunlight is conducive to people's psychological health as well as architectural aesthetics. Therefore, a sunlight piping system conceived by James Ramsey and Dan Barish was chosen instead. It uses a system of mirrors on the Martian surface, pivoting and rotating to follow the sun's path across the sky to collect sunlight. The sunlight is then funneled underground to spread it over Martians' homes. In pursuit of efficiency and safety, we designed another feature, the transportation tube system. The Tharsians station is a multi-layer, multi-purpose transportation hub that runs public transport of residential, industry, and tourism, and private transport of cars and trucks. To protect public transportation system from constant dust storms, all hyperloops and railways run in closed tubes, which are mostly 3D printed with regolith. There are also transparent tourism tubes, specially designed with radiation protection that offer tourists a wonderful panorama of the landscape. Below, cars and trucks are allowed to roam freely. Now we've introduced the settlement design, so next, let's dive into the engineering innovations of the colony. In 2035, a cargo ship was sent to Mars, carrying a fleet of 42 robots equipped with the most advanced AI system at that time. They deployed themselves on the surface of the red planet and prepared for greenhouses, resource acquisition, life supporting systems, and 3D printing factories, which also additively manufactured more robots.
One of the most vital parts of the colony is resource acquisition. The acquisition of raw materials is highly automated. The mining process is carried out by ultra cyber trucks, which is an ultimate version of the cyber trucks inspired by Tesla's. It is uniquely designed with excavation arms, as shown on the left, and containing a robotic dog like the one on the right. These robotic dogs are equipped with drills, X-ray visions, and explosive devices. When a truck drives to a site with targeted resources, they release their robotic dogs, and the robotic dogs drive themselves to designated locations, drill holes through the ground, and deploy explosive devices in the holes, and afterwards determine the capacity of the resources in the site after the explosion. If the capacity exceeds the designated standard,
I think he might be frozen. Can one of you continue on? He might have lost his connection.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we will continue on the energy part. So the energy system on Mars is completely renewable. An integrated energy system is implemented in each district. The picture is a representation of the colony layout and how the energy system fits into it. Jessica, do you mind sharing the screen?
Yeah.
Yay, nice. Large nuclear power plants and solar farms make up the energy for the individual industrial productions. Wind farms, mini reactors, as well as solar balloons are integrated into the residential grid. Transportation is powered by individual power stations supplied by mini reactors and the solar balloons along the road. The use of the solar balloons is an innovative approach to the dust storms problems on Mars. So the balloon. Despite the fact that we have large solar farms, dust storms can last for up to weeks on Mars, which could completely block the solar power system. Therefore, the colony creatively adopted a balloon-based solar power system. A solar balloon is filled with helium attached with the suction of solar panel on the balloon. A control box that automatically adjusts the air composition inside the balloon and cables that transmit electricity to the inverters on the ground. When a dust storm comes, the balloons will be lifted above a certain altitude and oriented according to the sun's direction, ensuring the uninterrupted power supply to the residential area. On the right side of the is the analysis that we did to demonstrate that it is completely viable to fly a helium balloon, even in high altitude on Mars. Storms on Mars will not usually go above a certain height, therefore it further demonstrates the feasibility of the system.
The Tharsian agriculture system composes rotational hydroponics greenhouse, food printing complexes, and protein labs. Inspired by and courtesy of a mega garden, the greenhouse is designed in pursuit of maximum efficiency and space usage. It has a circular structure with tens, if not hundreds, of individual modules and a central control tower. Each individual module rotates consistently, which activates auxins, the growth hormones, thus stimulating larger yields. Unlike previous missions where practicality of growing food dominates plant choice, the Tharsian agriculture experts have introduced popularity as an important metric of plant selection as population expands. The dishes served in Martian homes and restaurants are vastly diversified with the introduction of tomatoes, onions, pumpkin, broccoli, etc. Besides vegetables and staple foods, the 3D printing complexes will manufacture snacks such as chocolate and biscuits, which serve as emotion-boosting refreshments. Meat is both produced in protein labs and 3D printed as pseudo-meat as another option for meat lovers. Now let's introduce the Mars Emergency Management Board. To guarantee robust and seamless daily operations in the harsh Martian environment, redundancy and modularity are two key features. For redundancy, all critical systems have independent power feeds from solar balloons and nuclear reactors so that no interruption of electricity occurs if one power feed fails. Each district has an emergency shelter which can sustain for 1 month. For modularity, all infrastructure is modularized. When emergencies occurs, location can be pinpointed down to specific modules, enabling faster replacement of the malfunctioning one. For field operations, the EMB organizes certified first responder group, trains special agents, and organizes district mutual aid system.
Beside our colony on Mars, we are also trying to utilize one of the moons on Mars. Phobos has only 0.1% of the surface gravitational pull of the Earth, so 150 pound person would weigh only 2 ounces on Phobos. In this natural microgravity environment, many novel inventions can be possible. Microgravity amusement parks and space elevators are constructed, offering a great proof for how everyone can have so much fun with science. Meanwhile, the Phobos lab experiments on mind-blowing technologies, including building a small-scale model to simulate a Dyson sphere that wraps up a star. Ice reservoir on Phobos provides water to be made into rocket propellants. Spaceships dock on Phobos stations and refuel their tanks before starting off journeys to the moons of Jupiter or nearby solar systems.
All right, next we'll get into the economy of the colony. The economy of the city-state is self-sustaining and has many different sectors. The primary sector includes ore mining, water and oxygen production, agriculture, and manufacture. The secondary sector includes advanced R&D and cutting-edge technology industries. The tertiary includes interplanetary financial services, interplanetary trade logistics, tourism, as well as entertainment. Different industries are prevalent in different districts. Aurum is surrounded by abundant natural resources, and therefore is the center of manufacturing. Aqua and Lignum are called twin cities, where high-tech industries are usually located, which makes it popular for visitors from Earth. Solemn is located near spaceport, therefore tourism, interplanetary logistics, and other interplanetary services are profitable. The currency system used on Mars is different from Earth. The rise of decentralized cryptocurrency using blockchain in the 21st century has resulted in popularities of Bitcoins on Earth. So the city-state adopted a bilateral currency system consisting both decentralized blockchain-based cryptocurrency called Galileo and centralized traditional currency called Kepler under the regulation of Martian Reserve. Galileo and Kepler are at constant competitions as well as equilibrium with each other. When the cryptocurrency market seems too volatile, people will switch to traditional currency. When the government regulations seem to hurt the market or the economic opportunities in the cryptocurrency market arise, people will switch to Galileo. The competitions of two currencies allow each system to perfect themselves and foster a more stable currency system.
The Tharsian Committee determined that Mars' economy was autonomous in 2091, ensuring full independent sustainability of Mars even in absence of the Earth. In achieving such autonomy, Mars' interplanetary economy was built upon the transportation of intellectual properties and resources, research, and tourism. The domestic economy has a heavier emphasis on agriculture, additive manufacturing, and R&D. So, vital industries. Intellectual property transaction is one of the most vital economic activities between two planets. The colony is an intellectual harbor for cutting-edge technologies for automation, biotechnology, manufacture, quantum computing, and more. These inventions brought a huge amount of profits to Mars, even as they revolutionized the society. Meanwhile, visiting scholars from Earth have their breakthrough thanks to different physical properties in the ambient environment. They have been especially successful in looking for solutions to hunger issues, better water processing methods, sustainability and higher recycle efficiency, increased energy efficiency, more effective communication methods, etc. Also, interestingly, the arts and culture was only a small sector on Earth at the beginning of the 21st century, but it flourished on Mars in the next 100 years. An entirely new lifestyle on Mars is conducive to generating a new understanding of ourselves, our worlds, and ultimately the human condition. Martian artists have produced numerous mind-blowing literature, music, and paintings, which sometimes go so far as to redefine the perception of beauty.
Now we'll look at what the society will look like. In a society of 1 million people, a more intricate governmental structure is required. The primary political entity under the city-state is called districts. The state government consists of the state committee, the legislative branch, the Supreme Court of Justice, and the commander-in-chief. The commander-in-chief is not equivalent to presidents. They only serve for interplanetary diplomatic purposes, as well as commanding the military. The executive branch is the federal delegates in districts, which consists of many bureaus and departments. The district government consists of district committee, commission, court, and citizen legislature. The citizen legislature is one of the most unique features of the system. Governance on Mars is drastically different from Earth. When a bad policy is implemented, the consequences might involve the basic survival of 1 million people. So in order to make correct decisions, one must possess sufficient knowledge about Mars, as well as the technical details of how the entire colony runs. Therefore, beside the choice of being elected into office, which can be bureaucratic sometimes, one can become a member of the citizen legislature by passing examinations, so that the government can run not only by politicians, but also engineers, scientists, or anyone who is willing to dedicate their time. From the start of the colony, converting the unlivable Mars environment into habitable residential areas has been a huge challenge for the colony. Instead of relying on government's money, the colony decides to utilize the market. Investors who are willing to turn desolate Martian areas into habitable spaces that satisfy the Martian Settlement Administration standard will be granted the ownership of the portion of the land. We envision this policy will draw real estate developers onto Mars, which can greatly accelerate the process of making Mars habitable.
So, education. There were two global problems in the education system at the beginning of the 21st century. First, due to different levels of accessibility to resources, in many countries, the education system reinforces social hierarchy and stratification. That is, the rich become richer and the poor become poorer. Second, it places students on the same standard, hindering many kids from being out of box. To solve such issues, artificial intelligence was introduced in the education system on Mars. Everyone has a personal and sometimes lifelong AI who possesses the entire library of educational resource that was heretofore produced. In terms of the high-level design, the initial Martian education system was also established by absorbing research findings in neuroscience and psychology. The clear border among grade levels and disciplines was determined to be unscientific, outdated, and thus abolished. Instead, students learn by exploring their curiosities and asking questions, such as what, why, how, and diving into them. Their personal AI acts as a mentor who guides them to explore questions. The physical school was replaced by the concept of community. Students who live in the same community carry out collaborative projects. For students of 12 years old and above, aside from receiving liberal arts
5
education,
minutes
they will
until
also
Q&A.
learn through apprenticeship.
Thank you. Now what you're looking at is a game called Kulamu. It is a game born out of traditional basketball in low gravity environment. It is played between two opposing teams, A and B, in a circular court. Instead of having an actual ball to play, 3 people in each team are designated as balls, and the main objective is for the balls of each team to jump into the opponent hook and defend the opponent balls from jumping into theirs. This kind of sport will be nowhere near possible in Earth gravitational environment, but due to Mars low gravity, an average person can jump up to 1.5 meters high, thereby making such a game viable. Well, this will conclude our design of the city-state. The challenges for the future of the colony are still enormous. Martians need to thicken the atmosphere on Mars by releasing greenhouse gases from ice caps and underground, and deal with temperatures, dust storms, and solar charged particles, unknown viruses, and transform the toxic Martian soil so plants can grow. The challenges have only been driving humanity forward since the dawn of civilizations. We have every reason to believe that the dream of becoming a multiplanetary species will come true with our wisdom and spirit of exploration, equipped with new technologies in the years to come.
Building 3D models and producing high-quality rendering of a city is important, but the question that Mars Society gave us went far beyond that. It challenges us to think about how to make our civilization thrive. We love the thought experiment so much, so we transform it into a Martian civilization card game and play with 60+ high school students during a technology summer camp. With the form of strategy game, we succeeded in promoting the science of Mars and the ideas of humanistic care. And lastly, special thanks to all faculty members and friends who helped us during the writing process. Also thanks to authors of the papers we referenced. The completion of this paper is not possible without them.
Well, designing a city-state of 1 million people is challenging yet exciting. A 20-page proposal and a short presentation can only address the tip of the iceberg. We will continue our research and design and post the updates on our website, Tharsians.org.
And just some last words. This convention has been rather inspiring for us, especially because, no matter the nationality of a region, race, gender, social backgrounds, we are all here together dreaming about the same thing. Thanks everyone for listening to our presentation, and thank you Mars Society for inviting us. It's good to be here.
Okay, Ron, if you have a question.
Yeah, first of all, that was a really fun presentation. Thank you guys a lot for your hard work. I had a mechanical engineering question, kind of a basic thing. How hard do you think it's going to be to keep dust out of the habitat, not just dust storms, but just if you go out walking on the surface or truck stuff in, how hard is dust going to be to manage?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So for point 1, we will say that is the reason that we choose to, construct the residential area underground, which means our entire residential area is sealed and is completely isolated from the outside dust. And when trucks or other transportation systems go into the residential area, it's going to go through a process that we did not demonstrate in the presentation, but we included that in the paper. It's going to go through the transportation station, which is going to do all the cleaning works for them.
Okay, Samir?
Well, hello, thank you for your presentation. I just have a small inquiry regarding the subterranean unit, the domes. How would you carve such a space beneath all of this regolith? Unless we are using a lava tube, how could you solve this engineering problem? Thank you.
Well, yeah, if you look at our site selection, this is exactly the reason that we choose to build our colony in the south side of Arsia Mons, because there are many lava tubes and caves that we can already utilize, so that we can greatly reduce the workload that we need to excavate the stuff out of the underground in order for us to have spaces. So I would say in that area, a lot of caves and lava tubes are there for us to utilize. All we have to do is to perfect their shape and sort of isolate the residential area from outside.
Q&A. 5 more minutes for Q&A.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Frank?
Could you just review the sources of energy for your city-state? I heard about solar power and I heard about wind power by balloons, but is there any nuclear power?
Yes, if you, whoever's sharing the screen, could you go back to the energy part? So the energy, we call it the integrated energy system. So it basically consists of large nuclear power plants and solar plants for industrial production. For residential area, we have many nuclear reactors and wind farms, and the solar balloons are connected to the residential grid, which can promise the uninterrupted power supply to the residential area. So basically, solar energy, wind energy, and nuclear energy.
Thank you.
Okay, George?
So thank you for a very original presentation and for the card game. I have a question on the backup energy system, the helium solar balloons. So how high would they have to go above the dust storm? How many balloons would you need, to cover your solar system needs? Have you worked out the numbers?
Well, that is a great question. We haven't yet simulated the numbers yet, but the balloons are quite efficient because when you go up to a certain altitude, the sunlight radiation actually increases, and also we just place the balloon there 24/7, and therefore that's why we have uninterrupted power supply to the residential area. But the solar balloon system is not going to be the main part of the energy supply. It only supplies the residential area when the large solar farms do not work during the dust storm times. So during dust storm times, we can rely on nuclear reactors for industrial production, but for residential area, we will always use solar balloons to ensure the uninterruptedness of the power supply.
Manosis?
Thank you. Team 9, what will you do in order to make Mars City a beautiful place, and actually a more beautiful and more wanted place for Earthlings to go and live their lives?
Great question. I think the first thing we want to point out that it's an abstract idea of what's beautiful, right? And of course, now we cannot make the decision on whatever is beautiful for the Tharsians. However, we have some general idea that it is gonna be designed by the artist, and it's also gonna picked by people. Also, what we want to see that the design reflects whatever the ideals that Tharsians have, that we presented at the beginning of our presentation.
Oh, thank you. I just had a small technical problem. I have just a small inquiry regarding the solar balloons. I'm so much interested in the concept, but regarding your argument in using the solar balloons is just like a backup plan while there's a huge dust. I know that the devil dusts are so high on Martian surface, so even if you have a solar balloon, it might be covered by the Martian dust. Would you consider using another alternative? Maybe, I don't know, maybe the solar satellites or something that could be beaming microwave energy? That's just a small inquiry. And thank you. You have a great presentation. I do like it truly, but I just that popped up in my mind.
Well, yeah, great questions. So if you look at the analysis that we did on the page of the solar balloon, you can actually see the balloon actually.
Sorry. Time's up.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.